And now, words with Vinny Harney.
It's no small secret that I don't understand a lot of things. I mean, like, dabbing? What's that all about? But one word I particularly don't get is the word millennials. The internet defines millennial as someone who has reached adulthood during the 21st century, or after the year 2000. Apparently this term was used every 1,000 years, I assume anyway. I mean, maybe people in the 11th century refer to their kids as millennials, I don't know. What was even happening back then? I'm gonna look that up. 1009 AD, Muslims destroy Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. Well, darn those millennials. I wasn't really aware of this, but apparently you guys haven't exactly been oppressing the generation that came before you. What is wrong with you guys anyway? But needless to say, it didn't take long for us millennials to get pretty ticked off about this, and we took to the internet to defend ourselves. My generation can't buy a home when the average costs $440,000 and a combined income of 2 teachers is only $70,000. And don't be a teacher. I'm sorry, don't do it. My generation has both parents working 1 or both working 2 jobs just to buy food, not even able to afford a family vacation every December. My generation has a student debt on average $29,000 and we have scholarships, but they only cover 40% of the cost, and when law school costs $120,000 for 2 years, you do the math. Who's lazy now, old people? Can't even do your own math without us millennials' help. Now I know plenty of people personally who buy into one or the other side of this argument, but me personally, I'm kind of on the fence, which is kind of a bad thing when it comes to an internet war. It's bad enough to be on either side of this, but when it comes to being in the middle, you got both sides coming at you. So yeah, today I'm coming on here and I'm giving you guys my very unpopular opinion about this. I know, normally I just make fun of video games and be funny, but every now and then I gotta get economical, I gotta get deep, I gotta show the world that I actually have a brain somewhere in there, I think. Point number 1, the media portrays millennials in a negative manner for a reason. That is, millennials are a bit of a threat when it comes to old media. With the internet opening up the possibility for people to share opinions themselves and finding new ways to entertain themselves, old media, news outlets are finding it increasingly hard to appeal to this audience. On top of this, people are starting to think for themselves rather than just either conservative or liberal. Being raised in this type of world, it's no surprise that millennials are abandoning old media, turning to the internet and YouTube and vlogs and stuff like that for the news rather than traditional outlets. Now this is a good thing in my opinion, but for people who make a living with old media, this is a problem. This change of mindset is bad for their business. So what do? They start complaining about them. In my opinion, that's why we see so many news outlets talking about the dangers of Generation X. Fortnite being addictive, teens eating Tide Pods, internet trends are dangerous, YouTube showing ads for Pepsi in front of racial content. There's a very anti-new media, anti-millennial feel to most news sites these days. Which of course, since that's where most older adults get their ideas, gives them the idea that millennials are stupid and lazy and basically the whole world is Point number 2, millennials, you're messing up. Bad. Like, really bad. Take for instance that Tumblr post I mentioned a few minutes ago. My generation can't buy a home when the average cost is $440,000 and a combined income of 2 teachers is only $70,000. Okay, let's be honest here, you don't need a $440,000 home. Like, let's just be honest with yourself. I know that's what you grew up in, I know you think you deserve the world, but the fact of the matter is, everyone has to make their own way. Whether that way is easy or hard, you still think you gotta deal with. I mean, where you live in? Las Vegas? New Jersey? Once again, this sounds good, but let's crunch those numbers for ourselves. For just a quick example, here where I'm living in Rapid City, housing is pretty expensive. But you could typically find a decent house for around $100,000. Unless you're buying a really fancy place or a large one, you're not gonna hit $400,000. If we go ahead and do the typical 20% down payment, which should be around $30,000 for this particular house. Now just pop that into the old payment calculator. I'll just use this one Zillow, hopefully it's accurate. So after popping in our down payment of $30,000, we end up with a payment of $731. Now that's still a lot, but it's not impossible. Now I know what you're thinking, I could just get a cheap apartment, but then you're just sinking your money into nothing. So there you go kids, there's your economic lesson for the day. Don't rent. It's not worth it. Then just going off these 2 teachers who are apparently going to be living here, we got $140,000 a year. That's $11,000 per month, meaning you'd have still
$10,269
per month for food, cost of living, paying for that sweet car you've got. I'm just saying, there's ways to work with the system. Plus all this money you're sinking into this house, you can immediately get back whenever you sell a house. Boom! Everything's back. My generation has both parents working, one or both working 2 jobs just to buy food, not even able to afford a family vacation every December. Okay, let's just do another calculation. Seriously, I'm getting so much research in here. Let's then take into account a day's meal. Let's say you eat out because, you know, you're a busy millennial. You're on that hustle, you know. So it's just a quick McDonald's breakfast. For lunch, a Subway sandwich, very healthy. And for supper, you'll get a frozen pizza microwave. Good for you. So just estimating that, you're going to be careful. So a $5 breakfast sandwich at McDonald's. For lunch, we'll go with my favorite spicy Italian for $4.99. For supper, frozen pizza should be about $5, in addition to $2 or $3 for drink, and we'll make it a meal for an extra $2 for a total of $7, $8. Now multiply that by 7, our weekly cost of eating is about $140. That's actually not bad, right? I mean, you know, you're not getting much, but you're surviving, you're eating, you're getting by. But take that instead and use it on your weekly groceries, and what can you get? Flour, share, chicken breast, a whole chicken, some corn, a jug of milk, a can of beans, a pound of lettuce, a salad, potatoes, 5-pack mac and cheese, a thing of root beer, a bag of apples, hot dogs, buns, chili sauce for the hot dogs. We got chili dogs over here. I'm just gonna stop right there. I didn't even get the whole 140. Already, this is more food than one person needs in a week. A little bit of home cooking, a little bit of self-control, and you can do a lot. Is it easy? Of course not. But you know, my parents were not millennials, but they still had a really hard time when they first got married. The fact of the matter remains, no matter which generation you are, no matter how you roll the dice, life is still hard. I'm sorry. Sometimes we have to change our lifestyle a lot. Sometimes we have to do without luxuries which we as Americans take for granted most of the time. And just think of it as another part of a normal American's life. My generation is in student debt on average $29,400, and we have scholarships, but they only cover 40% of the cost. And when law school costs $120,000 for 2 years, you do the math. You know what? I will do the math. You know, I'm gonna do the math right now. Actually, what the heck are you two talking about? Why is it millennials constantly say, oh, college, I can't get a good job, but I gotta go anyway? Like, what the heck why are you still going to college? If it's that worthless, stop it. Just stop doing it. We tend to look around at us, at the world, and the changes that have made things harder. But we ourselves are to blame because we're trying to do things the same way. You know, school is done the same way. Our careers are done the same way. The way we pursue opportunities. The way we want to live. The fact of the matter is, we're not the same generation that our parents were. We're a generation that grew up with a lot of luxuries. We're a generation that grew up in a world where technology was coming out so fast. All in just a few years, technology has spiraled into unimaginable things. But rather than look at these changes and change ourselves, we instead complain because we have to do things differently, and the things that work for our parents don't work for us. I mean, now we have the opportunity to pursue things that our parents could have only dreamed of. Are things harder? Are they easier? I don't freaking know. But they're not the same. And I think that's the whole point here. It's unquantifiable to think that with the world being so different than it is now, that we can be successful doing things the same way we think they've already been done. Which brings me to my third and final point. Point 3, you can do it because you already are. Guys, you got this. I know I've been cutting you down. I know the media is cutting you down. I know your parents are cutting you down. I'm sorry. But you can do it. You can still do it. You know, put some faith in yourself. Don't be afraid to break the mold. You just go out there and do it. All the time I hear stories of creators, entrepreneurs, millennials who have been able to break away from the status quo and be successful in a world which looks down on them a lot. Matthew Patrick, we all know the guy. Genius in school, couldn't find a job, so what does he do? He starts making theory videos about video games. And now we all know him from the Game Theorists. Jordan Josh Taylor, some of you guys probably know him, I don't know. Just a couple random homeschool kids, they decide, we're gonna just make videos, and what do you know, now they're doing it for a living. Or look at the Harding family. Multiple kids doing college classes as young as the age of 12. Just take for instance Heath Harding, the oldest boy in the family, bachelor's in English at the age of 15, master's degree in computer science from Detroit University at the age of 17. And these are only a few that I could mention. I know not all these things apply to everyone. We can't all be YouTube creators, we can't all be entrepreneurs, we can't all go to college by 12. But throughout history, there have always been people who were just handed everything their whole lives, and then people who had to work their whole lives just to make ends meet. There have been the people that just go with the status quo and work hard to make a living, and then the people who work smart to make a living. But either way, a lot of them were able to make it because either they worked hard or they were smart. Not one way is necessarily better than the other. Different people just have different ways of going about their lives. I guess that's my main problem with modern education, is that it focuses so much on one way of doing things, when people are too unique to have one standard way of going about your life. And life has never been easy, so, you know, stop being baby about it. But I mean, you know, if the government wants to pay my tuition for school, I'll take it, you know. getting money is a lot of hard work. I'd rather just, dream about unicorns.
Unicorn!